Welcome back to Conscious Leader Series. My name is Eva Palakova. I am an executive coach for entrepreneurs. I teach female entrepreneurs how to build their businesses and become more powerful leader in their business and in their life. Somebody was honking outside. Anyway, we have been talking about letting go of different patterns, pride. We talked about the prosecutor. But before I go any further, a question came up. And that is, how do I actually let go of this stuff? Right? So how do we actually do the letting go? There's two methods that I use that I'm going to describe in this video and the next one. And the first one is emotional processing. So let's talk about emotional processing for a minute. What we have learned to do is two things with our feelings. One of them is we learn to suppress it. Right? We learn to stuff it. We learn for it to go away, push it, or to express it, meaning taking out on somebody else, falsely believing that that's going to do something, right? That's going to make it diminish. But on the contrary, it sometimes makes it more intense. So emotional processing is the third way to go about it. And that is a skill that we need to develop. Right? Because impulsively, you're going to go into either repressing or expressing, right? You're not going to processing, but processing is the way to deal with those feelings. So I want to tell you how to do it first. So say you have a feeling come up, or you can actually do it about an old emotion that you know comes up, right? So let's say you want to process a feeling that you know comes up quite often, right? And you want it to stop coming up for you. So the first thing you'll do, you will imagine yourself in the situation, you'll picture yourself in it, and you'll let the feeling of it come up. And you will keep taking it into the body, right? Whatever part of the body you can feel it in. And by the way, that's a side note, different feelings live differently in your body. So pride usually lives around here. Anger lives around here. Desire lives around here, right? Fear kind of runs all over. Sometimes you can feel it in the legs, you can run. Sometimes you feel it in your chest, right? So you want to locate it in your body and keep taking the feeling in without thinking it. Because the minute you let the thinking in, you are suppressing the feeling with your thoughts. Either you rationalize it, or you're doing something with it, or you're adding to it. You'll set your thoughts aside. Just focus on the feeling itself, and you will keep welcoming it in. And you want to make sure you're not resisting it. You're not making it wrong. You're not thinking about it. You just be with it. And you let go of the urge to change any of the feeling or resist it, right? So you keep taking it in. As you're processing it, you might want to take the intensity of it up to 10. And then keep taking it until it runs through. And you will notice you will come to a point, whether it's in 2 minutes or 15 minutes, you will come to a point where you just can't feel any of it anymore. When you get to that point, that's when you know you're done. So let's talk about examples. Processing anger, for instance. This means if you're processing anger or resentment or rage or self-righteous indignation, which all falls into anger, you've got to take it up to 10. So you've got to be really, really angry. Well, that looks like you're going to be raging. You might want to take a pillow and like smash the pillow, or if you need to take ice cubes and throw them against the wall or whatever. You'll just be really and you can use your voice with anger, right? You can use some F words, you can use whatever, and you blah, 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 bleep, 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 right? You're going to be taking your anger up to 10 and really, really, really living it and letting it go through your body. Now, the intention is to process it. The intention is not to, juice your anger and be angry. The intention is to process it and eventually release it, right? To surrender it. But you've got to let the anger go through, and you've got to be angry. So you'll do this, you'll bash into the pillow as long as it takes. You know, my experience, to me, it takes around 3 to 5 minutes. Well, it depends. You know, some really, really rooted anger could take longer, but usually it's just a couple of minutes. And then you'll come to a stopping point where you can't feel any of it anymore, right? Now, when you're processing fear, for example, there's different levels of fear. There's panic, there's paranoia, there's anxiety, there's fear of abandonment. So it feels differently in the body, right? Panic will feel differently than social insecurity or something. But again, what you're going to do is take it up to 10, right? And take it in and keep taking it in, and without resisting it. Sometimes there's a fear, feeling of fear on top of it that has to be processed first. So you'll deal with that first, and you'll keep taking it. And sometimes I will literally start shaking. It's like I'll feel the fear through my body. I'll start shaking, like my entire body will start shaking, right? And I will let the fear go through me. And again, take it up to 10. Let the body ask for more of it, right? Let the body deal with it until I literally cannot feel any of that fear anymore. Another example, if you're processing desire, which a lot of us think, or I used to think desire is a good thing, and it's kind of an emotion that we think is necessary to survival. Actually, it's not. So desire, once you start being present to it, you'll notice it's around your solar plexus. And it feels like a hunger, like this cravingness, this urge for something to happen, right? It's this wantingness, this, it looks like, gosh, it's just like wanting to manage other people's perception of you, for example. Like, I want them to think this, or you want them to be a certain way. It's a desire to control things with people. Why can't they just, why can my husband just do, you know, things the way I want him to do? And you'll feel this hunger, this wantingness, right, that comes up. So same thing. You want to feel it in your solar plexus, this thing that wants to go out and grab things, right, or make people do something, or manage people's perception, or manage their judgments of you, or manage their opinions, whatever it is. And you will let yourself feel it. You will let yourself feel it until it disappears. So that's how you do it, right? Again, you're going to make sure you don't engage the thinking too much. You're not rationalizing it. That's one of the biggest traps that people tend to do. They'll rationalize why they shouldn't feel this way, which does exactly nothing. So set those thoughts aside and be with the feeling. Make it be okay. It's okay, as embarrassing as it can be when you're processing anger. A lot of people are like, this is so silly. Like, I don't want to be doing this. Well, I do it all the time. It's like when you get used to it and you realize the impact of it on your emotional well-being, it's profound, okay? So this method, I'm going to talk about why this works as well as it does. This method is taught around the world in different forms, right? I read Letting Go by Dr. David R. Hawkins is a really good book. It doesn't describe so much the methodology, but it gives you a lot of, it tells you a lot about the levels of consciousness and gives you tips on what to process. He talks about the method a little bit, but doesn't go into too much detail. The Sedona method teaches the how-to, and they do different retreats and whatnot. But it's basically the same thing. They just use different ways of doing it, okay? So what it does, when you do this emotional processing, right, the digesting of the feeling, it disconnects the addiction to the juice, right, that we get out of the emotion. We let go of the juice. Sometimes you just let go of it once, and sometimes you have to do it over and over and over. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. Then you don't have to think about it. You start noticing that the letting go happens spontaneously, but that happens when you're practicing a lot. So this is such a powerful method, and I recommend you start practicing this, and you'll really, really see a difference. So that's part one. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the second method of letting go that I use. Thanks for listening.